the future, how far we've come since my time. I stand here today not in the mid-1800s, but in an era where science has not only advanced, but has woven itself into the very fabric of everyday life. Yet much of what I accomplished has not only stood the test of time, but it continues to shape your world. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Louis Pasteur, born on December 27, 1822 in Dole, a small town in the Jura region of France. I come from humble beginnings. My father, Jean Pasteur, was a tanner, and my mother, Jeanne Roquy, was a woman of strength and love. I was the third of 5 children. Life wasn't always easy, but the support of my parents was unwavering, and it's their encouragement that helped me persevere even when my own academic path was uncertain. My early years were spent as a young boy with a love for art. Yes, art. But it wasn't long before my scientific curiosity took over. I went on to study at the École Normale Supérieure in Paris, where I initially struggled but later excelled. There, I studied chemistry and physics, and little did I know that these fields would be the foundation for some of the greatest discoveries in the history of science. I know that today, in your world, science is everywhere. But back in my day, many were still in the dark about the true causes of disease. There were no antibiotics, no vaccines, no understanding of the microscopic world that you now take for granted. But my journey began with something seemingly simple. A question. What causes fermentation? I had been asked to investigate a problem in the French wine industry. Why some wines spoiled while others did not. As I analyzed it, I discovered that microorganisms, tiny living creatures, were at work, and their presence or absence could make or break a batch of wine. It was through my work on fermentation that I made a groundbreaking discovery. Germs, the invisible life forms responsible for spoiling food and causing disease. This idea was revolutionary. People had believed for centuries in spontaneous generation, the idea that life could arise from non-living matter. But I proved that life could only come from life, a concept that would later become the cornerstone of microbiology. I also developed the process that would come to be known as pasteurization, which involves heating liquids to kill harmful microbes without affecting the quality of the product. The same process that helped preserve wine and milk is now used to protect many of your foods today. Now, this idea of microbes causing disease wasn't immediately accepted. But I continued my work because I knew the truth. In fact, I faced significant opposition from many in the scientific community. But my passion for discovery and the desire to help humanity pushed me forward. The turning point came when I investigated diseases affecting silkworms in France. Through a detailed study, I showed that these tiny creatures were also falling victim to microscopic pathogens. My research on silkworms paved the way for broader breakthroughs in the understanding of infectious diseases, leading to the germ theory of disease. One of the greatest moments of my life was when I developed the rabies vaccine. The story of young Joseph Meister, a boy who had been bitten by a rabid dog, is particularly dear to me. His life was saved because I had the courage to test and administer a vaccine that I had developed, even though I knew the risks. It was the first time the world saw that vaccination could save lives from diseases that once seemed unbeatable. A moment I hold dear is the development of the anthrax vaccine. In 1881, I demonstrated for the first time that it was possible to protect animals from this deadly disease by using a weakened form of the bacteria. This was a pivotal moment in the battle against infectious diseases, setting the stage for future vaccines. It showed that vaccination could not only safeguard individuals, but also shield entire communities from devastating outbreaks. I must tell you, though, my greatest source of pride lies not in the fame or accolades that followed these achievements, but in knowing that the world was forever changed. Thanks to my work and the advancements that followed, vaccination became a key to eradicating diseases that plagued humanity for centuries. Today, You live in a world where diseases like polio and smallpox are nearly eradicated, and vaccines save millions of lives every year. What amazes me most is how much my work has contributed to your fight against diseases like tuberculosis, cholera, and typhoid fever. You have made enormous strides, creating vaccines and treatments for diseases I could only dream of tackling. But it is the foundation I laid, understanding that microscopic organisms are behind many illnesses, that continues to guide you. In your time, science has flourished in ways I could never have imagined. Technologies like genetic engineering, CRISPR, and advanced imaging techniques were beyond my wildest dreams. But you know, your future still depends on the same principles I worked with: vaccination, hygiene, and the scientific method. They are as crucial to your generation as they were to mine. To the scientists of today, and those who will come after you, never forget that the work you do can change the world. You may be standing on the shoulders of giants like me, but it is your discoveries, your courage, and your passion that will carry science forward. Never stop questioning, experimenting, and, most importantly, never stop believing that science has the power to save lives and make the world a better place. Thank you for continuing the work we started.